edition of the We Are City of Five Nations podcast, Positive Prevails series. I'm your host, Chuck Mills. I'm a former mayor of Shawnee. I own Mills Machine Company, third generation manufacturing company that's been here since 1908. So we've been here a long time. And I've asked Daniel Shaughnessy if I couldn't work this week before the elections on educating the citizens in our community about all the positive things going on in the city. There's a lot of negative campaign rhetoric in the newspapers and on social media. And, you know, I don't want to look at the negatives. There's always going to be problems, but let's focus on the positives and all the good things going on in Shawnee and what it looks like in the future. And so we've asked several leaders to come on and help inform us. Yesterday, we talked about the Blue Zones, and I personally learned a lot about the whole program, and am very excited that we have that in our community and have that opportunity to provide better quality of life and healthier options for us to live longer. And that's really what we want. So we're very fortunate to have that. Now, today, we have a guest, Justin Woods, who is the principal chief of the Sac and Fox Nation. And Justin is a lifelong resident, and I've known Justin a long time. I think he graduated with my oldest daughter in 2007. Is that right, Justin?
It's close enough.
Yeah.
2008.
2008. Well, 2008.
Yeah. We went to school together. It's good.
Yeah, you went to school together. I knew you went to school together. I couldn't remember if you graduated with her or not. But so we've known each other a long time. And then as he was elected to the House of Representatives, I supported him, and he did an awesome job. And, then family came along, and he had to make a choice, and he made the right choice. Family's number one. And, he comes from good stock, good people. His dad's been a longtime Shawnee police officer, was a resource officer at the Shawnee High School forever, seemed like. Freeland Wood, and his wife, or his mom, Shirley Wood, is a teacher, a pre-K teacher out at North Rock Creek. And now Freeland is out there as a resource officer. So that's really a cool deal. And so everything's kept local here, but he comes from really good people. And anyone that knows Freeland and you've seen him on the street, is one of the nicest people you ever meet. I always enjoy talking to him, and he might have had my back, one of the few guys that had my back when I was mayor, because we like each other. And so I really appreciate that. But now Justin has been elected to the principal chief of the Sac and Fox Nation. And, just to give you a little background, of course, I work very closely with all of the tribes in our area. The Citizen Potawatomi Nation, the Absentee Shawnee, the Kickapoo, and the Sac and Fox when I was mayor. And I respected their sovereignty. I don't think that they got a lot of that. Really, they were just looking for respect. And I respected it because I knew they were like another nation, another country within our city limits. And I thought it was a unique opportunity. And so I did what I could to partner. And at that time, the Sac and Fox, along with Truman Carter and a group of other people at the elected officials at the Sac and Fox Nation, contributed millions and millions and millions of dollars in our highways and our roads, and partnered with us and have made it a lot easier to get around Shawnee, to and from Shawnee, and bridges, and all kinds of projects. And, we haven't done probably as much as that as we have, I think, in the past, or maybe I just haven't seen it. But there's still some partnerships going on, but we did some big time stuff together. The other thing is the Sac and Fox have been active in helping us with even some of our social issues and with kids and housing, and as well as some of the other tribes. But we sit pretty squarely. Most of Shawnee, I think, sits pretty squarely on Sac and Fox Nation territory, because the Citizen Potawatomi Nation is pretty much kind of south of the river. Kickapoo is right there at Kickapoo Street and back to the west, and the absentees are kind of in the middle somewhere. So really, the Sac and Fox should be one of our best partners. And I really want to talk to Justin about, what his relationship is now, coming from being a representative of the community for 6 years and then going into a tribal representative, two different governments, hopefully that can work together like they have in the past, and even more so in the future, to help all of us have a better quality of life. So, Justin, I've talked probably enough. I really need to hear from you. You're the guest.
Thanks, Chuck. So I served Oklahoma in the state legislature from Shawnee, and married to my wife Olivia for almost 10 years, and we've got 4 kids. So Jocelyn, Everett, Finley, and Harrison, and so 2 boys, 2 girls. And when I served in the Oklahoma House, it was probably we had Finley in 2016, and about that time I decided not to file again. I felt like it was time to come home, take care of my family, do that the right way. So I went to work for a nonprofit, and so worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters during that last term in office, and then ended up taking a promotion with them and stayed with them for a couple of years, and worked for American Cancer Society as director of government relations. And then I went and worked with another great Shawnee resident, Amy Walton, Loftus Walton, and worked with her at OCAST. And so Oklahoma Center for the Advancement of Science and Technology. While I was there, I started getting phone calls about running for chief of my tribe and the Sac and Fox Nation. And my dad is a member of the Sac and Fox Nation, and so I come through that lineage, and we very proud of that heritage. And so I didn't think at 29 years old I'd have that opportunity. So I'm really fortunate to have that. I was elected to the state house at 21, and then at 29 I get elected to lead my tribe. And sovereignty is really important. I'm glad you brought that up. And we are sovereign to run our own government. And so we do take money from the federal government. And so all are certain federal rules and regulations we have to follow. However, for the most part, we're sovereign. And one of my goals is to become financially sovereign, so have economic sovereignty. And we don't have that yet. And so we do really well with our food distribution program and working towards food sovereignty. We work that through USDA, and we serve five different sovereign jurisdictions. So 5 different tribal jurisdictions. We do their food distribution program through the USDA, and so which is really cool. But I'm excited to be a leader here and to work with this business committee. And one of my goals was to move forward with purchasing businesses that are currently operating. So not starting from the ground up, but purchasing businesses that are currently operating and making money. We started with Shawnee Trophy there in Shawnee. Mm-hmm. Now it just so happened that we bought it right before a pandemic hit, but it's going really well there, and I'm proud of the opportunity that we took there, and there's other opportunities we have too, and within Shawnee, and then in Prague and Meeker and Stroud, all the way to Cushing, we have opportunities, and we're going to take them, and we're going to hit the ground run. We hit the ground running back in June of last year. This is almost the year to the date that I was elected. Wow. So it's I was sworn in. I was sworn in on the 27th of June, and so we're getting pretty close to that. And so that's something that I'm really excited about, is moving into the next 3 years, get this first year under my belt and move into the next 3 years. And so some of the things that we have started, so we want to partner with our schools. And so we just so happened to partner with North Rock Creek just a couple of weeks after I was elected and help them purchase some playground equipment to help with some of the recreation stuff they're doing. And going forward, I think we'll continue to do that through our donations line item that we take from our casino earnings. So for the last 5 years, we've donated over $3 million back into our jurisdiction. And so that's from Shawnee all the way to Cushing. We've donated nearly $3 million, or over $3 million in that 5 years, more so this year. And I don't have those numbers in front of me for this year, but over $3 million in 5 years. And then over the last decade, we've put $17 million plus into roads and bridges within our jurisdiction. Wow. And so, it's an incredible commitment from my nation. We're 4,000 tribal members. The majority of them do live in Oklahoma, and a large number live in Shawnee. And so obviously we're talking about Shawnee today. And so,
right.
But I'm excited to partner going forward. And I have a relationship with a few of the current council members, and I'm excited about growing that with whoever the new mayor happens to be. And then, of course, working with the state government as well, and the leadership there in the Shawnee area is something I'm passionate about. I think that we have an opportunity to really grow with how we work within state government and how we work within within the city government as well.
What communication have you had with some of the current leaders? Is it regular or just intermittent, or are you guys trying to work together with some deals, or is it just reaching out saying, hey, you're the new chief, let's get to know each other? What was that? How did that start? What was it, and with who were you talking to?
Sure. So I've talked to Mr. Bolt and to Mr. Rutherford, and those are the two that I really had the conversations with over the last year. However, I mean, really, it was interrupted by the virus, and we all
Right.
kind of started taking care of our own at that point. And the reality is that our focus will always be number one on our tribal members, and whatever we can do to make lives better for people living within our jurisdiction, our tribal members will also do. And so you're going to see some of that come down the pike. We actually received a grant to distribute to native agriculture, so people that own farms and ranches or work on farms and ranches within our jurisdiction. We received a grant to give out COVID relief to those people. So we're about to announce that. And so you can, if you're native of any tribe and live within our tribal jurisdiction, we'll be able to help you out. And we have several farmers and ranchers that are native that live within this jurisdiction. And so there's going to be some money there to be able to help. So it's not always just tribal members. Just like our clinic, we're about to expand our clinic to 36,000 square feet, and it's currently under 7,000 square feet. So it's going to almost, it's almost going to be 6 times the size of what it is currently, or 5 times the size of what it is currently. And we serve all tribal members of any tribe that live within our jurisdiction. We serve them there at that clinic. And so we're going to have greater services there than we've ever had before. And so just little things that start to add up, and how we treat people and how we take care and serve people. And customer service is something that I want us to get fantastic at. And our tribal members are people that we need to be serving in a really in a great way, not just okay or fine, but making it something that's a priority.
So you have a lot of intertribal relationships with other tribes like that surround us in the surrounding area where their residents may live in your area on the nation's land. How does that work? Do you? They're card carrying, I assume, and they just show their card and they have the same services, and that pertains to you guys as well, going to the other, like let's say to go to Seminole, or how does
so
that
you
work?
have to Right, you have to live within the jurisdiction.
Oh, okay.
And so if they live within Sac and Fox jurisdiction, which is between downtown Shawnee, runs along Kickapoo, goes, and so Kickapoo would be the west boundary line, and then back north or back east, and then it runs all the way to Cushing up 99. So you go a little ways up 40. There's a break, and then Moccasin Trail, which everyone's real familiar with. Jim Thorpe's birth site is there off of Moccasin Trail, and headed towards Prague. And so so if you're a tribal member, or if you're an employee, if you're one of our employees, you're able to use our benefits, use our clinic as well. We changed that. I think they changed that the year or two before I was elected. So our employees have that benefit as well.
Wow. I had the opportunity to serve as on the Business Enterprise Board committee, and then I was chairman for a year. And George Thurman, the chief at the time, asked me to come on, and I had such a good relationship when I was mayor. And some time had passed, and he said, "Hey, would you come on? We need some business people on here." And I said, "Sure." And so my whole intent, was to do exactly what you're doing. I wanted them to diversify. I was the only business person on the board, even the business committee, which is all your elected officials. And I had to go in and try to explain to them how it worked, how you have to market yourself and how you need to diversify, because right now or then your primary income was from gaming, and we all knew that gaming was going to maybe plateau at some point. There's a saturation point, and I was looking at their future, and they all looked at me like, okay, wait a minute, you're not a tribal member, why do you care? Well, I care about the whole community. We're all in this together. We all live here together in this little pond, and I said, we should all be helping each other be successful, because if I can help you be successful, I'll be successful too.
Right.
It's just the way it should be. And so, and it was hard because, I was trying to sell this idea to people that were not business people and trying to
Right.
break it down in a business like manner.
Right.
And, thank goodness you came along because, we tried several different things and had a lot of opportunities. But, you get elected and right out of the gate, bam,
Yeah.
you're buying a business, you're in business. You're doing that exactly what I tried to do for 3 years
True.
and failed. I mean, I moved them along,
Right.
but I couldn't make it happen. And so
Right.
it took leadership, and you were the right guy at the right time. And I applaud and respect what you're doing because it's fun for me to sit back and watch
Yeah.
all that groundwork you kind of did. And, so someone took it to the next level. I don't care. I was just trying to get them there. And
Right.
my interest was not because I was a tribal member, I was getting anything out of it. It was to try to make things better for our whole community. And I want all the tribes and nations to thrive and prosper because it's good for all of us.
Right. So what I've been trying to say this entire time is what's good for the Sac-and-Fox Nation is it's really good for our communities we live in, and it's good for the state of
Right.
Oklahoma as a whole. If we're successful, then people will be successful around us, right? Um, so our focus is number one, taking care of our tribal members, and then number two, taking care of the communities that we live in. And of course, born and raised in Shawnee, I'm really excited about taking part in being a leader of a tribe that's, the area is Shawnee, and so it's a big chunk of the area we live in. But Cushing's important to me, and Craig and Meeker and Stroud, those are all important areas to me as well. So what I really enjoy is getting to know those communities more so than I have in the past. I knew their legislators when I was in office, but I didn't necessarily know their communities. And so that's something I've been focusing on, is getting to know those community leaders and trying to become a part of what they do. And obviously the virus has put a big damper on a lot of the things I wanted to try to do right off the bat. But um, but honestly, our people were ready to diversify the economy. But what's important is while we diversify our economy, but keeping taking care of our culture and taking care of our language and taking care of the things that we take that we can easily take for granted. And I didn't grow up in any of this. I didn't grow up traditional. My dad grew up with his relatives very traditional, um, but for whatever reason, he chose not to raise us that way. And so I'm learning too, and I'm learning words in our language and learning about our culture in a way that I've never learned about. But I do know that you don't want those things to go away. You want to keep them, and you can move forward economically while also taking care of your culture and your heritage and traditions. And so that's been our focus. But I mean, we've got some really cool things coming down the pike that I'm not able to talk about yet, but that I think Shawnee and the surrounding areas should be and will be extremely passionate about. And it's going to be good for the area. And we will receive nearly $25 million in CARES Act funding, and so a lot of that is going to be is going to help our tribal members directly, and will indirectly help the communities they live in, and some of it will directly help the communities that they live in, and will be a benefit to both tribal members and non-tribal members.
So, what, in your opinion, can we do to assist you, work closer with you? Are the communication lines open and good? And, what is it that we can do, or what can the citizens even do to help you guys be more successful, which will ultimately come back to helping us be successful as well? Do you have any ideas about that?
Sure. So if you see an opportunity, I want to know about it. That's a big thing. And so far, members of the community have not been shy about sharing opportunities.
Good.
And to be completely honest, if not, I don't, it's not blaming the virus. It just happened, and so it slowed a lot of things down. And so there are a lot of opportunities that we had that had just completely slowed down. But I like to call this little break time that we've had as an opportunity to research,
Right.
and to see how there's no running into anything without researching it first. And so at Shawnee Trophy, we know it's not going to be our bread and butter forever, but it's an opportunity. It's a building block. It's your first piece of the puzzle. I mean, it's something that we had to do, and I'm blessed with an excellent business committee right now with men and women on this business committee that they do understand the need to economically diversify, and they understand business. And we're very fortunate to have the right employees in place at the right time, and then tribal members that are buying in because they are excited. They're excited about economic diversity, and they're excited about moving forward that way. And they know where our priorities are. And ultimately, if we get 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 businesses that are working and making money and contributing to the economies that they reside in, it's going to be better for all of our tribal members going forward. And we did well with gaming this year, even in spite of the fact that we had the virus hit. We did really well. And so, I mean, with that in place and doing well, and if we can keep that engine running, everything else will just fall in place. And we're very fortunate, been blessed this year, and even with everything that's gone on, in the face of everything that's been going on, we've still been blessed, and I'm excited about the opportunities that we have going forward.
Well, and I know you guys are doing all the right things with the virus. I saw the news yesterday, or you had to shut down for 2 weeks or whatever because you found a case. And so I know my wife goes and gambles, so I know everyone wears masks. They're sanitizing, so, and, a lot of the machines are shut off, which she's not very happy about, but, what you got to do, social distancing. And, but you guys are doing the right things. You're not trying to hurt the public in any way for financial gain. I mean, you're doing all the right things. And I think that sends the positive image to the surrounding communities that you're not reckless about people's health, and you take this seriously. And, sometimes you have to take safety and protection over the mighty dollar. So kudos to you guys.
Right. I'm proud to say that we never once even looked at the financial impact. We were able to get the PPP loan. And so we were able to take care of our employees that way. And I think we furloughed for like a week before we got the PPE. But for the first month of the shutdown of those casinos, we paid every single employee. And we never furloughed any tribal government employees. And so they're all, even the ones that aren't here right now, are still being taken care of. And what's good about that is that they're not having to go get unemployment. And it's not a drain on the state's economy, and it's not a drain on the federal government. And we're able to do that in part because of the leadership we have right now. We want to take care of people. A lot of those people are our tribal members, but they're all members of our community. And so we're excited about that. And then we're able to do a relief distribution with that CARES Act money to all of our tribal members. And we're doing 2 of those disbursements. And before we even got money from the CARES Act, we did a disbursement to our elders. And so we were able to put the money together to help our elders directly right off the bat. And just to make sure that everyone's able to take care, at least to a degree, of things that they may not be able to take care of right now. And so not everyone's been fortunate enough to keep a job this entire time. And so we want to make sure that those that weren't are taken care of. And then those that were, this will help. And it'll also help stimulate the economy in the areas that we're able to serve them in. So I'm really excited about that and that opportunity that we've had because of the CARES Act dollars that we were fortunate enough to get. And hopefully moving forward, everything we do with those dollars will have, and I don't see how they won't, but have a direct positive impact on the communities in which we reside, which obviously Shawnee is a big part of.
Right. I know a lot of your tribal members live in the Shawnee city limits and enjoy the benefits of, the quality of life that we're trying to create here and continue to. So have you guys been invited or been a part of any of the studies for, and I'm going to go back to blue zones with, sidewalks and walking trails and bike lanes, which is controversial, I guess. I mean, but have you guys been involved in any of that in the Blue Zones project? I mean, have you been invited to the table, or have you wanted to, or
Sure.
What do you know about all that?
So I know a lot about Blue Zones because of the involvement I had when I was with the American Cancer Society. And so that's where I learned the most about it. And so while I've been chief, I have not been approached about Blue Zones things directly. However, transportation and things like that, we were contacted on. So indirectly, yes.
Okay.
And I think if that stuff's done the right way with the right type of community input, that it can have a huge benefit. But Blue Zones without community buy-in doesn't work. you
Right.
have to have community buy-in, and almost everyone has to be bought in.
Right.
And it works the best when everyone is bought in. Now, believe me, I understand from being a state representative to being a tribal leader that you can't make everybody happy all the time.
Right.
And it's not my goal is not to make everybody happy. It's to serve everyone in the best way possible.
Right.
And sometimes by doing that, you make people upset. But the goal obviously is to always just try to take care of everyone, help the most people in the best way possible. And blue zones, I think, if done the right way, it can have a huge impact on the community. But buy-in is just so important, and that's something that as a tribal leader and then also as a state representative, my goal was always to get as much buy-in as possible for whatever we have going, and we've been successful in that thus far.
Well, from what I learned yesterday, I mean, it's just a healthy option. We're not requiring anyone. We're not forcing anyone. It's like, look, if you want to live to be longer, here's some proven ways that can help make that happen. And I already told them yesterday, I said, look, I'm not a vegan. I was born here. I got to have my steak and potatoes, and I will avoid fried food and carbs as much as I can. I'll eat as many vegetables and fruit as I can, which I like. I love them both. And but we're not forcing people. And
Right.
so I guess part of that is being able, and yesterday I mentioned that we were going to be talking to you and Richard Driscoll at Fire Lake Foods. Of course, they're a certified store. They brought in, like you said, 100 different different varieties of fruits and vegetables, and so they really made that available. And I know that's a little bit of a haul for your tribal members, but they have everything that you would want. And he's invited you to, if you want to call him, he would help you. He would come up there and help you in any way. And I know probably you don't have the grocery store like he's got, but he would help you guys in any way.
Right.
And for you to lead the charge and show to your tribal members that you care about their longevity, their health, their quality of life, their well-being, and to be a part of that program, I think would be huge. The Citizen Potawatomi Nation's already bought in,
Right.
and you guys are probably our next biggest partner. Like I said, we have the Kickapoo and the absentee as well, but you guys are very visible here in our community, and I see it as a natural, but it's going to take leadership, and
Right.
maybe you have some other people that you'd like to delegate that to, but I encourage you guys to come together and let's see how all of our citizens together can
Sure.
live a better life and more healthy life.
Right. And so grocery stores might be in our future. And
Oh,
so,
good.
so
We need,
that's something that, like food sovereignty is an important thing as well. And so we've worked on things like that. And, sure, I think I'd love to talk to Richard. I like him a lot. He's a
oh
good
yeah.
guy, and he's done a great job over there. But yeah, I think anything you can do to increase the well-being of your people, and we've got some great programs when it comes to issues our people have, and so just moving forward with that type of mindset is always important.
So you mentioned earlier about opening up this communication relationship. What's the best way to get a hold of you? Are you in your Stroud office?
So I'm in my Stroud office, and
Okay.
my cell phone number I've given to everybody. It's 405-240-0044. And it's I answer that phone day and night, and and it's funny. I always tell people I put my personal cell phone number on my first state representative card I had, and I got a call about 3 o'clock in the morning from someone that needed to be bailed out of jail. And so, and so my dad just happened to work midnights at the time. And so I called my dad and I said, what's going on? But he just happened to be someone that had picked up my card from probably from a county fair or something
I might
and
need
had
this
it.
someday. My get out of jail
Yeah.
card.
Yeah. And so I don't know how much I helped him out, but I think he ended up being okay. So
So, but you still live here in Shawnee, right?
I do. I live
Okay.
in Shawnee. We live in the heart of Shawnee, and my kids go to school at North Rock Creek, and my mom teaches at North Rock Creek, like you said. My dad's the resource officer at North Rock Creek, and of course, I went to Grove School K through 8, and
Right.
then graduated from Shawnee High School, and so I feel
Right.
like I have a huge. My heart is definitely in Shawnee's public schools, and the about impact that the positive impact that can happen from being, born and raised in a community and staying in that community and taking care of raising your family in that community, because your kids get to have some of the same teachers you had, and they get to enjoy the same entertainment that we enjoyed as kids. And of course, Shawnee's just growing like crazy. And
Oh yeah.
And so far, I think my kids would love to raise their kids here. I mean,
Yeah.
my daughter will be 10, and it's just incredible looking at the type of people they're going into, and people in Shawnee have an influence on that.
Right.
And
Well, Oklahoma City is coming. I mean, that 6-lane is, they're saying going to 177, but they're really talking about going to Harrison, which is going to be good for you guys and us as well.
right.
And I'm excited because, this is our opportunity to showcase our community and
Right.
who we are. I mean, we've got the best of all worlds. We're close to Oklahoma City, but we're far enough away to be our own person and be independent, have our own identity. It's an ideal thing. We're not blended in like Midwest City, Del City. It's like, okay, where does it stop and start? Now, someday it may be like that, but maybe not. I guarantee probably not in my lifetime.
Right.
But, what an opportunity to build that infrastructure now to, accept that massive community that it's going to come. It's going to happen. Let's welcome it. Let's be prepared. It's not like we're going to be in Oklahoma City, but
Right.
we still are going to have our identity, our culture, just like you do, your history. It's so important to maintain who we are. You mentioned earlier that you had some communication with two of the candidates right now, Ed Bolt for mayor and Darren Rutherford as a commissioner. What did they reach out? Did you reach out? What kind of dialogue have you had? And then have you had any dialogue with the mayor?
So listen, I've had some vehicle issues, and Fred's just happens to be one of my favorite places to go to get my car taken care of. And it was one thing after another. And so really, I mean, I've known Darren for years, but that kind of started that way. Ed reached out to me right after I was elected to talk about some of the transportation stuff that we've been partnering on, and we helped fund a survey that was done, a study that was done on transportation. And now, like I said before, what we're dealing with right now has kind of put a halt to a lot of those discussions.
Right.
But I do think that we're getting closer to maybe a new normalcy. It's probably not going to ever be the same, at least not the way we remember it. I wear my mask as much as possible still, and I think people should try to wear their mask, and especially in the situations in which they might be exposed. And so, but I think that hopefully my goal is within the next several months to visit with those new elected officials, and I'm not so sure it'll be the same people, but to have those relations and build upon them. And really, I haven't had a lot of conversations with the current mayor. It just, for whatever reason, we haven't connected, but there's no ill will. It just hasn't really worked out to have those conversations, and
just not convenient.
Right at the time, no. And so, but I mean, I think that it'll be whoever's elected mayor. I have a good relationship with all those candidates, and to be able to have a really good relationship will be there. And I look forward to putting forth the effort, and honestly, I mean, they know I'm Shawnee, born and bred. Like it's not hard to get me to buy in on something. It's just a matter of whether it makes sense. And so whatever it is has to make sense culturally for us, and it has to make sense for the plans that we have, and most importantly, it needs to make sense for my tribal members for buy-in. And so that's always important for me, is to have that tribal member buy-in, has to be something that makes sense for them, and that something that really will benefit them first, because that's what I do. I'm their chief. And so, but hopefully no matter whatever we do should always be good for. If it's good for us, it should be good for Shawnee as well.
Well, everybody has to remember that you have 4 other elected officials in your business committee that you've got to convince, or at least a majority of, and then you've got to go before the general council, which can be pretty tough. And there's a lot of elders and a lot of people who've been around a long time that don't make a decision very easy. or very quickly.
Right.
And you have to respect that. And so people that come and talk to you have to understand, you're not the king,
Right. No, it's absolutely right.
you're the
I'm
king,
an elected, I'm an elected representative, and ultimately, that 5-member business committee can make decisions. But for the most part, I'd love to go through the governing council for things, because that means if they agree with it, then there's real
Oh, yeah.
buy-in.
Oh,
And
it's a
so,
big deal.
yeah, and so and I think we have some of that buy-in, and there's some projects that I'll work on the next couple months of trying to get some full community buy-in on, so we can get those things approved and move forward on them. And
Right.
ultimately, nothing I've done has been for any purpose other than serving my people, ever. And so, I mean, I told my dad I wanted to be a police officer so bad when I was in high school, and my dad spent years talking me out of it. And he wanted me to go make money, and he wanted me to do something that wasn't so political. And of course, I went to school to be a teacher, and then I ran for office. And so I'm stuck square in the middle of doing things for people, and that's what I like to do. And that's what was bred into me. I mean, my mom's a teacher, my dad's a police officer, and serving people is important to me. And I won't always get everything right. And that's why I try to explain to people I can't get it right, but I've always had the best interest of everybody in mind. And my career should back up the fact that my priority has never been my benefit. It's always been for other people. And God's been good to me to allow me to take care of my family while doing that. But every job I've had has always been service related and nonprofit related. So it's and that, I mean, honestly, unless something crazy happens, that'll probably be what I do until I die. And so which I'm okay with.
It gets in your blood. You have a servant's heart, and I love helping people too. And it's so rewarding. You really feel like you have purpose in your life, helping other people, watching them succeed, because it ultimately it will come back, and at some point, you'll see the benefit, but it doesn't really matter. You're not looking for a benefit. That's what's so beautiful about it, because it comes back and you're like, wow, how'd that happen? And you weren't even trying. So, thank you very much for doing that. And you mentioned, I'll say one more thing. You mentioned that, I remember Ed Bolt telling me that as soon as he got elected, he kind of took on two big issues. And the mayor said, yes, please take those. And they were difficult. One was public transportation. And that's where he reached out to all the tribes. And you just mentioned that, reached out to all the tribes and all the other partners in the community about, how can we help our citizens get to jobs and to doctors? I mean, we have a central Oklahoma transportation system, but you have to get a reservation way in advance, and it's 100% not reliable all the time, but they're pretty good about it. But really getting some good public transportation, and I'm glad that you guys stepped in, and we're willing to be partners in that. We want to continue that conversation in the future. The other hard one he took on was the homeless, and that's an issue that touches all of us. And it probably touches the nation as well. Homeless people, and what are we going to do? And again, bringing in all the partners, and I don't know if you guys were involved in that or not, but I know a lot of the agencies were involved within the community about, how can we help mitigate this situation? I know one thing that's happening is the Red Rock Behavioral Center down here on Union and Main is moving out onto Harrison Street, across from the cemetery, and that will alleviate a little bit downtown, but it's still not going to fix the problem. It's a long-term problem. Have you had thoughts on that, or you have been approached about that?
Sure. So, I'm unabashedly pro-life, and I have been since I was a child, and something I believe in. And what I've always talked about is that if you're pro-life, you got to be pro-life from the beginning to the end. And if you're not, then it's hard to claim it. And so I believe in trying to take care of all of our people, but I mean, it's difficult when people are trying to run businesses downtown, and all of that plays together. But there are a lot of great organizations that that can help take care of those people and get them to where they need to be. And if they want to find a job, help them find a job. And I know there's some great people in our community that do that every day. Now, while I haven't been approached about that directly yet, I mean, if they were to approach me, I know that'd be something I believe in trying to help with. And as long as the best interests of those individuals are at heart, then I think that's something we should always strive for is trying to help the most people that we can. And every tribal nation, every city government, every state government has a population that needs extra help, and I'm sure that if they reached out, we could find a way to be a part of it.
That's the answer I expected from you. You're very
Yeah.
predictable because you're a genuinely nice guy and you do care about other people. And I can't think of a better leader for the Sac and Fox Nation. And they're blessed to have you in place at this time. Your energy, your experience, your compassion, it just doesn't get any better. You're all in that one package. And I know it's such a difficult position because just like any elected position, there's a lot of people that want things from you, demand things, and your hands are tied on a lot of issues. So I appreciate you doing what you can do. I appreciate your time for coming on and sharing. I think that more of this needs to happen. We need to have more dialogue and more communication with who we all are. We're all together here,
Right.
and Daniel's done a really good job with these podcasts and trying to help. And I'm just tickled to be able to have the opportunity to showcase all the positive things that are occurring in our community and how bright the future really looks. And
Right.
Truly, the Sac and Fox, nation is one of those very bright opportunities that we have here in our community. So I applaud you, and trust me, I will do whatever I can to help you. And I believe there will be a lot of other people here as well. So I look forward to the next 3 years. If this
Me
first year
too.
is any indication, I look forward to the next 3 years. I think they're going to be phenomenal. This whole area is just poised to explode and grow and create new opportunities for all of our citizens.
Yeah, I'm ready to get this year behind me.
I understand. I think 2020, we'd like to just kind of do a flush and do a start over, but
Yeah,
let's just go on to 21.
that's
21,
it.
the key.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to say while you got an open mic?
Right. So I'm not sure when people will see this, but we vote on Tuesday. So we have a big
Right.
vote in Shawnee and statewide, and I think that taking it seriously and playing your part when you can is important. A civic duty that not everybody takes seriously, but we all face the consequences of whoever's elected, and so whatever decision's made. So I encourage everyone to get out to vote and take their time to be safe while they do it. Wear your mask if you can, and wear gloves if you can. And if you haven't got your absentee ballot, then make sure you get out there and vote on Tuesday.
Right. Well, and if you want to early vote, you can go Thursday, Friday,
That,
or
that's
Saturday.
that's right. Yeah, early voting. I always early
I like
vote.
the
I
early
love
voting. I love it,
it.
man.
Yeah.
It's the best. You kind of get it done and just then watch everybody on Tuesday.
That's right.
But I think there's gonna be a good turnout. And you're right. Everyone really needs to do their homework. They need to pay attention. Pick the person you think that's going to do the very best job for the next 4 years, uh, locally, statewide, and federally. And that's what part of this series is about. So I appreciate your wise words. And I'm going to wrap it up by saying that we are a City of Five Nations podcast. Positive Prevails series will continue tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we're actually going to have an interview with Mayor Finley early, about 8 o'clock. And then we're going to talk about the bike trails on Friday, hopefully. But this is a great series, and I'm having a blast. I'm looking forward to it. And once again, I appreciate you for being on here. And Daniel's tagline is "Together we build community, one season at a time." Thank you, Justin Wood, for being with us, and we'll see the community tomorrow here at 8 o'clock. Thanks.